Life doesn't care. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Life doesn't pause because you're tired. It doesn't soften because things aren't fair. And it sure as hell doesn't listen when you complain. The world moves with or without you. And the top 1%? They know that. That's why they don't waste time blaming the weather, the government, their family, or their circumstances. They adapt. They find a way. While others talk about how hard it is, they're already moving, already working, already thinking 10 steps ahead. Complaining is a luxury the weak indulge in, but the 1%? They don't have time to whine. They're too busy winning. Because every minute spent complaining is a minute not spent building, not spent improving, not spent evolving. The 1% understands that emotions come and go, but results stay. They don't wait for motivation. They build discipline. They don't hope for an easier path. They become stronger for the one they're on. And when things go wrong, they don't panic. They don't cry. They strategize. You want to know the real difference between average and elite? Average complains. Elite executes. See, when life punches most people in the face, they start talking. They call friends. They rant. They post about it. They look for sympathy. But the top 1%? They get quiet. Not because they're weak, but because they're working. They're already in the lab, already rewriting the plan, already back in the gym, already studying harder, already moving forward. They don't need applause. They don't need validation. They're not playing for likes. They're playing for legacy. There are two types of people: those who make excuses and those who make adjustments. One stays broke, bitter, and blaming. The other becomes dangerous, unstoppable, a force. That's what separates the talkers from the doers. Because the truth is simple. You can either complain or you can conquer, but you can't do both. Most people run from pressure, but the 1%? They run toward it because they understand something the rest of the world doesn't. Pressure creates power. Pressure isn't the enemy. It's the test. It's the fire that forges greatness. It's the weight that builds the strength you didn't know you had. You think champions are built in comfort? You think winners are born in peace? No. They're born in chaos, molded in uncertainty, shaped in silence while everyone else is screaming. The 1% learns how to breathe when it's hard to even think. They don't panic. They prepare. They don't fold. They focus. When everyone else is breaking down, they're leveling up. Because they know pressure isn't something to avoid. It's something to master. It's not there to destroy you. It's there to reveal you, to show you what's been hiding under the surface all along. And when you stop complaining about the weight on your shoulders and start carrying it, that's when you become dangerous. That's when you rise. Let's make one thing clear. You're not owed success. The world doesn't hand out rewards just because you tried. Effort is step one. It's not the ticket. It's the entry fee. Everyone wants to be great, but very few are willing to pay the price. And when they don't get what they want, they start pointing fingers, blaming the system, blaming luck, blaming timing, but not the 1%. The 1% takes full ownership. If they fail, it's their responsibility. If they fall short, they fix it. No one's coming to save them, and they don't expect anyone to. They don't see problems. They see opportunities. They don't see setbacks. They see strategy. And most importantly, They don't sit around wishing things were different. They make them different. Because when you stop expecting the world to give you what you haven't earned and start working like everything depends on you, that's when the game changes. That's when you stop being a spectator and start being a dominator. You ever notice who complains the most? It's the ones doing the least. Because the real ones, the 1%, they're too focused to speak. They're too busy building, grinding, growing. While everyone else is tweeting, venting, talking about what they're going to do, the 1% is already doing it. You think the lion brags before the hunt? He stays silent, then strikes. Winners understand this. Energy is currency, and every second you spend complaining, gossiping, or defending your excuses is energy you're stealing from your future. So they go silent. They cut the noise. They remove distractions because their eyes are locked on the mission. And while the world keeps shouting, crying, blaming, the 1% is in the shadows, stacking wins, preparing for a moment so big, so undeniable, that they'll never have to say a word again. Because when you really start moving, like the 1%, your results speak louder than your words ever could. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you're making a decision: comfort or greatness. You can't have both. Most people choose comfort. They hit snooze. They skip workouts. They take shortcuts. And then they complain about where they are in life. But the 1%, they choose differently. Every single day. They choose pain over pleasure, sacrifice over sleep, hunger over happiness. They understand that your life reflects your standards, not your dreams, not your wishes, not your potential, just your standards. And if you keep tolerating average, you'll keep getting average. But the 1% raises the bar. They don't lower it to feel better. They get uncomfortable. They push further. They train when no one's watching. They study when others sleep. They stay sharp while the rest gets soft. And here's the truth most people ignore. Your results aren't based on what you want. They're based on what you're willing to suffer for. The harsh reality is, if you don't control your mind will control you. Most people are slaves to their emotions. They feel tired, so they quit. They feel sad, so they stop. They feel fear, so they run. And then they wonder why they never win. But the 1%, they've trained their minds like a weapon. They don't wait to feel motivated. They command themselves into action. Discipline over dopamine. Mission over mood. Purpose over pain. Because the mind will always find a reason to quit. It's built to protect you. But greatness doesn't live in safety. It lives in the fire, in the pain, in the discomfort. And the 1%, they lean into it. They don't argue with weakness. They overpower it. They don't negotiate with fear. They dominate it. And when doubt starts whispering, they answer back with action. They know that the strongest muscle in the body isn't the chest, the arms, or the legs. It's the mind. And once you train it to obey you, there is nothing that can stop you. You're standing at a crossroads right now. You can keep complaining about the challenges in your life, or you can turn them into opportunities. You can stay where you are, blaming the world for what you don't have. Or you can rise, take full responsibility, and go after what you want like a hurricane. The 1% aren't special. They're just people who decided that complaining wasn't an option. They chose to take action, to move through discomfort, to turn every failure into fuel. You have that power. you have that choice. And if you want to be part of the 1%, it's time to stop waiting for life to hand you anything. The 1% don't wait. They create. They make the opportunities they need. They don't pray for easier paths. They make their paths easier by walking them with relentless purpose. So ask yourself, are you going to keep complaining about how hard life is? Or are you going to get up, face the grind, and create your success? Because the truth is this: the world doesn't care if you succeed. It's waiting to see if you have the courage to create your own success. Now, let's go create it.